evening, everyone. I'm Bob Cole, along with Gary Dornhofer, and here are your officials tonight. Andy Van Hellemond is the referee. Ron Asselstein and Swede Knox are the two linesmen. As we get set for the Hartford Whalers and the Toronto Maple Leafs, John Garrett in goal for the Whalers tonight, 3.65. And for the Toronto Maple Leafs, it's Kurt Ridley once again, 3.92. And the game is underway. Hartford, in their third meeting against Toronto, they've already beat the Leafs twice this season. It's cleared to center. That's Mark Howe, number 5. He played it on the boards, and it's into the zone. Al Sims, the other defenseman for Hartford. Douglas, Keon, and Allison are up front, and the Leafs trying to clear it out. Douglas stopped it. It comes in front to Keon, and his weak backhander was wide. Keon went in forechecking. That gives Allison some room. He's in back of the net. Tried to come in front, was put on stride by Salming, and the Leafs cleared to center ice. Sittler, Martin, and Paymon up front for Toronto. That's Sittler. He was knocked down, but got a pass away to Paymon, going in with Martin. That's broken up at the Hartford line, and Salming comes in with a shot wide of the net. And Allison takes over it again for Hartford on the other side. Douglas to center. The long shot by Douglas with the Whalers changing. So are the Leafs now. As they've just passed 1 minute in the first period, no score. Here's a pass for Hickey. Hickey's backhander. He sliced it in front again. And Turnbull had a chance, but it was stopped. Now the Leafs shoot it back in. That's Turnbull. He's up front tonight with Williams and Hickey for Toronto Maple Leafs. Mulhern is number 8 on the defense for Toronto Maple Leafs. That's cleared into the Leaf zone. Going in after it. Boutet tried to center it and couldn't. Now that's Stoughton back of the net. Boutet chopping at it. But the Leafs hang on to it on the boards. Now it comes loose. And Mulhern goes in back of the net for Toronto. Cleared it up near the line, and Williams got away from a check at center ice. Then he played it along the blue line. The Leafs go in offside. Turnbull brought it in from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. This is Hockey Night in Canada. Turnbull from defense moved up to center ice between Williams and he now for Toronto against Rogers, Stoughton, and Boutet for the Hartford Whalers. The Leafs get the draw, but can't keep it inside the line. It's cleared to center. That's Rogers playing it into Boutet. Boutet couldn't pick it up. Rogers left it for Stoughton. He cleared it across in front of the Toronto net, and then it's moved up to center to Williams by Mulhern. Here comes Hickey after it. Hickey going in against Roberts. Centered it. Back to the line. Mulhern's weak shot is knocked away by Garrett. On the other side, Salming couldn't keep it in. It's along the boards. The Leafs, Pat Hickey spun around on a check thrown by Gordy Roberts. And the Hartford Whalers just shoot it to center. Mulhern picking his way through. He cleared one in wide of the net. And going back is Giroux of Hartford. Here he comes. Larry Giroux to the line and gets to center on a good move. Took a shot in off the boards. Williams coming all the way back. Got in before Rogers. Williams stops in his own zone. Looks for Salming for help. It comes over on this side. And Boschman trying to clear it out. Got it to center. Saganuk is also on for Toronto. But the Hartford Whalers shoot it in again. They're nearing the 4-minute mark of the opening period. There is no score. Now the Whalers with some pressure on. It's cleared to the far side. A long shot hit a leg. They get it back again. Renault played it in front. Here's a great shot. And down goes Ridley to make a big save on Carroll, who came right in on top of it. Here it is again. They scrambled for it. It comes back in front. Mark Howe near the blue line. Great pressure now applied by Hartford. Finally, Salming misses one. It's cleared into the corner. Johnston gets in front. And Kurt Ridley had to go down again, but they keep the pressure on. It's centered in front of the net. The Bull couldn't shoot it. From the blue line, another shot. Stopped by Ridley from the stick of Renault as he let it go. The Leafs in deep trouble. Can't move it out. Another shot. That went through the crease over on this side and comes back to the Hartford blue line. They've hit the 4-minute mark now, the first period. No score, but the Whalers are coming close, and here they come again. Johnston got in front, then he was knocked down, and the Leafs clear it to the line and out. Nick Fotiou plays it back inside the Toronto line. Both teams changing now while the play goes on. Very few whistles in the deep early going. Gordie Howe is on. That's the big cheer you hear. Here's Saginaw going in. Hit the side of the net. He's centered to by Schmidt. A great save by Garrett. Beautiful hockey in the opening minutes, and Gordie Howe gets it across his own line with Potier going in with him. Howe stops. Potier dropped it back. She was offside, and it's called. Tonight's game is coming to you from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. There's the man, Gordie Howe, and he's still quite popular.
He sure is, and what an ovation he got when he stepped on that ice tonight. Playing center ice.
Mulhern for Toronto against Howe. Howe fell into the corner. That's Kazicki in the Maple Leaf uniform for the first time. He flew in this afternoon from Edmonton. Got here about 4:30. It's cleared in by Mulhern. Back of the net. Garrett tipped it into the corner. It's stopped by Salming. Salming stopped by Gordie Howe. And now the long shot by Kazicki is blocked on this side. Mulhern keeping it in. Now the Leafs get it going in the offensive zone. Centered right in front. The backhand shot by Butler is a weak one and wide. Another shot. Another shot by Butler. And it's picked out by Garrett, who just stood right up there and faced them all. Back now for Rogers and Roberts to center, and Roberts just flipped it into the corner, going after it. Sheehy. They hold it on the boards, and they get a whistle. 5 minutes, 29 seconds gone. Gary Dornhofer, and we're getting a freewheeling action.
Well, end-to-end rushes, and what can you say about that man that hasn't already been said? And I'm sure his last dream, Bob, is to play with his boys on the same line, and I understand that may happen.
Gordie will be 52 at the end of next month. Believe that. We've been talking about that, of course, for what? Quite a few years now. Still going. Keon is another, and he's on for the Whalers now at center with Douglas and Allison on the wings. The Leafs with Paymont over there. That's Burroughs taking the pass going in with Sittler and Martin, the other two front runners for Toronto. But the Whalers break it up, and this is Mark Howe coming back, and he's a dandy. Shoveled it off for Keon on the left wing. He couldn't control it. The Leafs speed right back again. Coming out of the zone, Farish to center. Played it in on the right side, too far for Paymont. Going back is Douglas. He hit Keon with the pass, though. Or rather, Sittler, and his quick shot was blocked. Into the corner, there's Keon against Sittler. They bump together. They both go off stride. Shot by Burroughs. That's knocked out. Paymont going after it. Douglas after him. It comes back to Farish. He was stopped by Douglas, and it's cleared outside the line. Keon coming to center, down with Allison. Keon rolled it in over the Maple Leaf blue line, and Burroughs shoots it back to center. 6.5 minutes gone in the first period. There is no score. That's Allison flipping one in off the stick of Farish, and Farish covering up in his own zone starts away. Good pass for Martin on the left wing to center. Martin just rolled it ahead and back for the Whalers. Boutet took a shot. That's stopped by Ridley, and he cleared it away from the goal mouth himself. Now Martin's long pass goes down to Hickey. He's racing in. Turnbull in front. Couldn't get the pass. Turnbull into the corner, back of the net. Turnbull missed a chance to center it, and Mike Rogers takes over for Hartford. He left it there in the corner for Al Sims. He dumps it down the ice. That might go on the net, so no icing. They played 7 minutes and 10 seconds of the opening period. There is no score in this game, and they've been going from end to end. Good scoring chances, but nobody's been able to do it yet. The two goaltenders, Garrett and Ridley, have come up with key saves. Here's Hickey, and that shot just grazed the post, and Hickey can really shoot them. Here's Salming, and he stick handles into the Whalers zone. Centered it. They cover up in front. It's knocked away on the glove, and then Mulhern centered one right in front, and Williams couldn't reach it. He and Boutet bumped together. The Whalers can't move it out. Hickey gets set to set up Turnbull. Turnbull standing in front, didn't get the pass. Now he's around the net. Couldn't quite make a play. The Leafs couldn't keep it in. Williams waits for Hickey to come back out, centers it back, and Mulhern just flipped it on the boards to center. Once again, it'll be Salming starting away. He circles in his own zone. That's Boutet in watching him. Coming up to the 9-minute mark of the first period, no score. Williams with Boschman and Saginaw. The pass behind Saginaw, and the Whalers come right back. This is Rogers coming in. Rogers over the line, stops, took a shot. That's stopped by Ridley. Cleared back of the net, and Burroughs has it. Playing it on the boards. Here's Saginaw. He got it out to center ice. Mark Howe broke it up. And Stout plays it back in. Boutet set it up on the left side for Rogers to Stout. And that was a close one. It just rolled by on the left side of Ridley. No score in this first period. Again, Mark Howe, the pass on the wing. He cleared in over the line. Johnston was knocked down, couldn't carry on. He got back up in time to cover. It's cleared to Carroll back of the net. Carroll couldn't get a pass out. And the Leafs shoot it down the ice. That's the Bull coming back of the net. Laying it up on the left side. Carroll and Johnston line up, but they can't get anywhere. Nearing the halfway mark of the opening period. There is still no score in the game. Hartford Whalers on the move now. This is the Bull coming in with Johnston. Johnston was covered. Couldn't do much with the pass. A long shot hit near the net. Ridley had to cover up quickly. It's back of the net again. Centered it. Ridley goes down. Scramble. And Mark Howe was jammed out of the way and couldn't get the rebound. But I'll tell you, Kurt Ridley has been really sharp in this first 10 minutes of the hockey game. No score. Toronto and Hartford and the Leafs trying to move it out as Farrish nearly ran into Burrows, got it to center, and it's Boschman going in with Anderson. The pass to Anderson, and that's knocked away and cleared back to the other side. Boschman gets it back to Salming on a bad angle, can't shoot it. Now wait a minute, he cuts right in and hit the goal post right along the ice. Good move by Salming. Mulhern keeping it in. Mulhern driving for the net. Goes in around it. And it's cleared to the other corner. This is Saganuk. He gets it back near the line. Anderson shot tipped away. And Saganuk hopping on it again. A good line now for Toronto. Boschman, Saganuk, and Anderson. Another shot right in front of the scramble. Boschman is knocked down. There's going to be a penalty. Cleared right back in front, and the whistle goes. And there will be a penalty now to the Hartford Whalers. This is Hockey Night in Canada from Toronto.
Well, the action has certainly been fast and furious at both ends of the ice, and that time Garrett had to be especially sharp because the Leafs applied the pressure. Renault will get a tripping penalty, so let's have a look at the Leafs power play.
10:22, the time of that penalty. No score this first period. The Leafs now with a man advantage. And here's Hickey playing it right in front to Sittler. Paymon and Williams, the other two wingers. He comes back to Hickey up the line. Salming on the other side. That's the complete power play lineup. Into the corner, Williams. Looking back to Salming. He stops along the boards. Gets away from Rogers. But into the corner goes Gordie Roberts. Couldn't come up with it. It's center to Paymon. He jammed it into the crease, and Garrett lost it for a second. He went down. Now they start swinging down there. I'll tell you, Paymon pushed out a left hand rather quickly. And that's Larry Giroux, who was going after Paymon. Linesman Swede Knox, you see him there. They got in very quickly. I think we're going to get penalties, though, Gary. Let's see. No, they're not going to call any penalties. Paymon is okay. There he is.
Well, it was a real good play by Sittler. You know, he saw Paymon to the left side of the net, threw it across, but Paymon was unable to handle the puck, and eventually there was a face-off called. But good pressure by the Leafs.
Okay, no penalties on that little skirmish behind the Hartford net. There is no score. 1:33 left of the Hartford penalty. The Leafs on this power play. Sittler, Paymon, Williams, Hickey, Salming. That's the lineup. Comes back by Salming into the center ice area. Chasing it down is Rogers against Salming. Hickey takes the pass in his own zone for Salming again. Stout, the other penalty killer up front for Hartford. So it's Salming coming out. Gets it down to the left side for Hickey. Overskated it. Now he cleared it near the line, and the Whalers break it up and shoot it down the ice. Roberts and Giroux, the two defensemen on for Hartford. The Leafs unable to get it going on this power play, and a minute left of the penalty now. No score in this first period. Toronto Maple Leafs starting out. There they come. Paymon's pass to center. On this wing is Williams, but it goes to Hickey. Now over to Williams. It was intercepted by Stout, and he gets it out to Rogers. Rogers killing some seconds of the center ice area. Goes in with a shot. It was deflected and just wide. Another drive by Giroux was wide of the Leaf net. Comes all the way back to center ice. Here's Paymont stealing it. Going in with Williams. Paymont shoots. Stop the rebound. And Williams couldn't reach it with the netminder. Garrett out of the goal. Hickey gets set for the line. A shot. Stop the rebound. It's Sittler. And they cover up and shoot it down the ice. Leafs come awfully close. Only 15 seconds left in the penalty now to Renault. The Leafs. Turnbull coming in. Good speed. Penalty coming up. Interference. Mark Howe was knocked flying. There's the referee, Andy Van Helleman, right on the job. With the score, Hartford nothing, Toronto nothing. This is Hockey Night in Canada. Well, Gary, they're 5 aside now.
Well, you notice that Turnbull going down the wing. Tiger Williams tried to keep Mark Howe from taking a run at Turnbull. It was interference. So 8 seconds left in the Leaf penalty, and then the Hartford Whalers will have that man advantage.
Mark Howe gets it back in his own zone to Sims. Now Renault steps back on, so the Whalers are at full strength, and they now have a power play opportunity. There is no score in this first period. And it's Al Sims to center, flipping it into the lead zone. Butler couldn't clear it. Here's the drive right on, and Ridley made a good save. He just stood up to it, cut the angle a bit, made the save. That shot right along the ice. Mark Howe, number 5, back of his own net. Waiting for everyone to line up. There's the play. It goes out on the right side. Johnston gets to center, up over the line with Douglas coming after it. Douglas into the corner, tried to get it loose. He did. Douglas takes a look, gives it to Mark Howe near the blue line. He gets set, played it over at the far side. Grabbed by DeBull. He was stopped. The Leafs trying to clear it now. They're short-handed. Get it to the line, but not out over it. Kazicki went after it down in the corner. Kazicki along with the bull fighting for it. Kazicki comes up with it, and it's cleared down the ice by Dave Parrish. Good work by Kazicki back of the net. Nearing the 14-minute mark of the first period. No score. 45 seconds left in the penalty to Dave Williams. And again, Ridley out of the net to shoot it away on the boards. Martin took a whack at it, and it goes back into the Whalers zone. This is Sims coming back. Watched by Paymont. He gets out in front of his own net. Sims comes to center, and he can move it. For a defenseman, he likes to rush. Clear it in, and Martin going back of the net for the Leafs. But there's Sims again, intercepting the pass. He centers it to Rogers. Back to the line, and Mark Howe let one blast. But it was blocked at the defense and cleared down the ice. Mulhern getting in the way of it. 10 seconds left in the Leaf penalty. Williams getting ready to come back on now. There is no score in this first period. The Hartford Whalers starting out, led by Rogers. Up over the line. Rogers going in. Williams is back on. The Leafs at full strength again. But the Whalers have the heat on again. Inside the Leaf blue line. Near the line. It's stopped. Mark Howe couldn't stop it. Williams knocks it down. Boschman just could not reach it. Boschman going in back of the net after Roberts. And the Whalers shoot it down the ice. This will be icing as Mulhern comes back for Toronto. This game is coming to you from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. You know, we played nearly 15 minutes, and Gary, we've had just 7 whistles so far.
You're doing a good job, Bob. I'll just sit here and watch.
Don't run away. You never know, Gary. Gordie Howe, Nick Fotiou, and Tim Sheehy for the Whalers. Boschman, Anderson, Saganuk. That's Anderson with it. Back to the line. That's a bad pass, actually, and behind the defenseman, Mulhern. And it goes all the way back. He comes back for it. He's on the defense with Salming. At center, Roberts playing along with Giroux. Shooting it in for Hartford. It comes in front of it. Gordie Howe. Oh, he took a backhander and hit a leg, and that net was gaping for him. That was close. Here's Anderson racing in. Anderson took a low shot, and Garrett, he's tough to beat. One of the premier goaltenders in the league. They love him in Hartford, I'll tell you. And here's Gordie Howe intercepting again. Howe takes a look, played it back in front, and it stopped. Sheehy couldn't pick it up and cleared back to the line. Giroux knocked it down, took a drive, and a glove save by Ridley. Mulhern is bumped back there by Fotiou. Here's Howe in front. Howe looking for it. Still has a chance. Howe with a weak backhander. It hit a stick and bounced away from Ridley. And the Leafs can't move it out. Giroux's shot. Ridley sliding, made that save. Here's Potieu in front for Howe's back of the net now. Gordie Howe slapped it in front. Potieu goes back of the goal with it. Sheehy trying to center to Howe. They hit it skate right in front. And everybody in the Gardens, I'll tell you, saw Big Gordie standing there all alone. 4 minutes left in this opening period. No score. No icing called. They're really moving from end to end. There's Roberts playing it into the corner. It's cleared out by Douglas. And stopped at the line. Offside. Live from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. Hockey night in Canada. Darryl Sittler at the Leaf bench. Gary, he doesn't look too calm about things, does he?
Well, this hasn't been a very good time for the Leafs. We all know what their record is and the way they've been playing, so they've got to get things turned around. Whether they can do it tonight, we'll have to wait and see.
Well, it's Sittler in at center ice now. It's cleared outside the line. The Leafs coming back. Here's Allison. He missed a chance to pick it up, but Douglas coming in. Douglas breaking for the net. Keon failed to pick up the trailer pass, and it's cleared by Sittler down in the wing, but offside was Mike Kazicki, and it'll come back inside the Leaf line.
Oh, Mike Kazicki in that trade for Pat Ribble went to Washington. Has a lot of speed going down that wing, and he comes into a situation which hasn't been very pleasant around here. You know, even watching the Leafs practice this morning, there wasn't that enthusiasm, that drive. Everything was down, so it's up to certain individuals to get things going, and Sittler, he's one guy that can do it.
Keon for Hartford. Keon coming in with Allison and Douglas. There's Douglas back of the net. Shell has a chance to center it. He does, and the Leafs break it up. This is Paymont coming out with Martin. Martin, good speed, breaking in, back of the net. Martin stopped back of the goal. Keon coming all the way back to help out, and the Whalers clear it. Allison comes down to center ice. His pass in on the left side, gets it back again. Renault couldn't get a shot away. Allison staying with it. They fall. Douglas took a swing at it, and Sittler of the Leafs can't get it loose, and they call the play for a face-off of the Leaf zone. This is Hockey Night in Canada from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. Hartford defeated Toronto 4-2 here at the Gardens, and then the next night at home defeated the Leafs 5-3 in their previous 2 meetings this season. This is Kazicki for Toronto, starting up again. Pokes it across center. Maloney back to Kazicki. Coming in, the pass at an open wing. Nobody was there. Carroll for the Whalers just played it back to center. They shoot it in back of the goal. Toronto swinging back out. No score with 2:25 left. Maloney coming down with Kazicki and Jerry Butler. The pass behind Maloney. Now Mulhern chopped it in across the Hartford line, and Gordie Roberts just played it up on the left wing for Carroll. Carroll, Johnston trying to get it out. Roberts played it back of the net for Sims again. Now DeBull to center ice. Johnston got his pass and then was stopped by Salming. Kazicki comes back in his own zone. In back of the net, being bothered by DeBull, who got it loose in front of Johnston, and he was knocked flat. There's the backhand, and they score! Roberts just came in from the blue line, and you could almost taste that one coming, Gary. It comes at 18-12, and Roberts got the backhander. 1-0, Hartford.
Well, it's not a very good time for Kazicki to make a mistake. He did behind the net, lost control of the puck, come right out in front. Now Roberts, he's on his backhand. A lot of players have a tendency, once they're on the backhand, switch to their forehand, but not Roberts. He finds the short side, just past the outstretched glove. Ridley, and pumps it in the corner. Here it comes again.
Number 24, Bernie Johnson. Time 18-12.
18-12. Gordie Roberts, 1-0. Long shot by Mark Howe was right on. It's cleared in back of the net by Pat Boutet. Knocked loose. Once again, Stoughton gets his stick on it. They hold it now along the boards, and they get a whistle in the Leaf zone. It's 1-0. Hartford jumping on top. You'll see Mulhern, number 8, going down to try to block it. He was down, trying to get up. Then he did get up, but couldn't block it.
Well, when Roberts just came in there, he wasn't challenged at all. It's that little backhand. You notice Ridley, a little slow on moving. didn't really know what direction it was going to take. Good shot.
Well, Hearn was the defenseman, number 8, who went down in front. He might have screened Ridley, you know.
Kind of froze him there for a while, perhaps, Bob.
The Leafs trying to clear it out. Williams on the boards. 1:20 left in the period. Turnbull coming up over the line, going in with Hickey. Couldn't set it up, but there's a penalty coming up against the Hartford Whalers as Turnbull was dragged to the ice. Larry Giroux.
Well, we got Turnbull playing on the left wing. He tried that before where Smith had him on the left wing. Makes a good cut to the inside. Had Giroux beat. That's about all he could do on that play. But Turnbull certainly has shown a little bit of speed playing on that wing tonight.
Holding time 18:45.
Holding penalty against Giroux. 1:15. You talk about inopportune times. That's a bad time to take a penalty. Just a minute 15 left in the period. And your team up 1-0. And the Leafs now will do their darndest to tie it. Sittler, Hickey, and Williams slice it right to the net from the face-off. Turnbull is dropped back to the point of the power play along with Salming. So they have the big guns on, but the Whalers clear it out over the line into the center ice area. Sittler hooked it back in. A minute left in the period. Hartford, shorthanded, Mark Howe shooting it down the ice. Now Salming is coming back. 50 seconds left in the period. Williams starting out on the right side. It goes too far for Hickey. And again, the Whalers shoot it back. Salming goes back of the net. He's being watched closely by Stoughton. The pass comes to Turnbull. He comes to center with Williams down the left wing. Williams trying to drop it back for Turnbull. He was covered. Sittler carries on into the corner. He flipped it to the far side for Hickey. Hickey to Salming. Salming to Turnbull. Turnbull spinning around. Took a shot. Tried to hit Sittler in front of the net. Hickey on the other side. Back to Salming. Turnbull with a chance now right in front. He tried to set it up and it went by. Comes back to Turnbull. 8 seconds left. The shot might hit the goal post and bounce back to the other side to Salming. The Leafs with great pressure on now, but the bell goes with time running out on this power play at the end of the first period and a good freewheeling first period of hockey. The score, Auto outshooting Hartford 12-10.
Well, next Saturday, of course, Toronto, during that 6-game road trip, will be in Winnipeg. There are some of the out-of-town scores. Lafleur, Mondeau with a pair. Lonsberry for Pittsburgh's 3-1 Montreal. Ryan Walter has scored for Washington, 1-0 over Vancouver. Richard Martin has a pair for Buffalo. LeBratton has answered for Detroit, 2-1 Buffalo. That's in the second period.
And there's John Garrett getting set to start the second period for the Hartford Whalers. The referee, Andy Van Hellemond, comes to center ice. Incidentally, the referee, Andy Van Hellemond, is celebrating today his 32nd birthday. He asked me to mention that to you good people tonight. Happy to do it, Andy. And many more returns. A veteran referee and only 32. My. Here's Salming for Toronto. Over on the other side, Turnbull shooting it in. Sittler, Paymon, and Williams. The other players on the power play. Only 29 seconds left of the penalty now. And the Leafs are having some difficulty getting it going. Stoughton intercepts one. And Turnbull had to move in front of that quickly to deflect it up over the glass. The Leafs having trouble getting the power play going.
Well, they have to get that play coming out of their own zone. You know, you keep watching power plays, but it all starts in your own zone, making that good pass. Now, Salming's the type of guy that can set those wingers free.
So the Leafs, inside their own line, have to get it going in a hurry now. Only 18 seconds left. With that man advantage, Turnbull knocked it to center for Paymon, coming in on the wing of Sittler. Here he comes. Garrett out of the net to stop it. Hook it away from Sittler. 5 seconds left in the penalty. Sittler centers one. It's hammered away from the net again, and they shoot it down the ice. And now Giroux is back on. So the penalty is over. Hartford Whalers 1, Toronto Maple Leafs nothing. Here's Salming from center ice. In off the boards. Garrett again out of the net but cleared. Up against the boards. Heyman looking for it. But the Whalers shoot it down the ice. This will go for icing. Keon, however, is racing up. The netminder comes out, so no icing called. Ridley had to make a play on it. Good move by Keon. From Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, this is Hockey Night in Canada.
Okay, fruit juice, tissues, what else for you cold?
Oh, Alice, cold medicine, of course.
Instant or regular?
Instant cold medicine?
Sure, Drista and Mist. What would you call a decongestant and antihistamine that goes to work in less than a minute? Instant cold medicine, right. Take your regular cold medicine, sure. And when you want to get your nose unstuffed fast,
Drista and Mist.
Why wait to breathe?
For the Whalers, there's Dave Keon, and he has Douglas and Allison on the wings. Gordy Roberts and Renault, the two defensemen. The Leafs, Burrows back of his own net. He's on there with Farish. They clear it up to center, and coming down on the wing is Kazicki. He cuts in front of the net, and a great save by Garrett. Good move by Mike Kazicki. But the Leafs have yet to score in this game. Kazicki shooting it out of his own zone along the boards, and here's Butler racing in. One man back, it's Roberts. Butler cutting for the net, managed to get a backhander into Garrett, and he made the glove save. Maloney tried to center it, and it's picked up there quickly and cleared by Douglas. Down on the wing, Allison was stopped. From center, Roberts let it go in on the boards. Here comes Allison looking for it. Allison over on the far side. He was skated out of the play by Maloney, but Keon takes over in the center ice area. He's coming back in for Hartford. There's Keon, good stick handling. Passed it over in front, and Farish intercepted for Toronto. Nearing the 3-minute mark of this second period, 1-0 Hartford. And they keep it inside the lead line, but now Butler comes to center ice. This is Butler going in. He's in across the line, trying to stay on side. He does. Maloney gets in. Took a shot, and Garrett made the leg save on Maloney. And a good effort by Dan Maloney getting right in front. Roberts coming back to center. He was stopped by Farish. It's knocked down the ice. Boschman racing, but he can't get there in front of Renault. Mulhern for Toronto. He lost it. Back for the Whalers, led by DeVole going in. Lost control of it, and Ridley just chopped it away. Another shot. Ridley got the glove up on that drive from the line by Johnston. Out in the center ice area. Boschman on with Saginaw and Anderson. They shoot it in. This is this young kid line for Toronto. They can really go. But back for Hartford. This is Mark Howe. Good play for Johnston. In front. Scramble for Mark Howe. Oh! And he lifted it too high and wide with the goaltender Ridley down. They keep it in. Another bang at it. Ridley goes to another shot. Carroll fan on that attempt. It bounced over his stick. Knocked down by DeVole. Near the line. Carroll lost it. There's Saginaw. One man back. Anderson catching it. Saginaw let it go. And Garrett got a piece of that, and it comes all the way to center. Mark Howe again leading a 3-man break. Going down Carroll. He dropped it back. Then he was covered on the boards, but he managed to get a pass back to Howe. And he tried to set up DeVole, who took a shot. It came off the boards quickly, and then his shot was blocked. Now Carroll once again getting in front of the shot. He scores! Well, I'll tell you, this Hartford Whalers team, Gary, are really flying tonight.
Well, they keep coming at you, and here's again the Leafs, all kinds of problems in their own end, giveaways. Now it looked like the puck was stuffed right against the boards there. The Leafs had a 2-on-1 there, or 2 men against 1. Carroll out of the corner. It may have hit Ridley high up in the corner. But look at that. The Leafs had 2 men in the corner. They should have been able to freeze it. Carroll comes in there, just picks it up. Salming tried to slide in front, deflect the puck, knock it into the corner. Carroll came up with a goal. There he is, a happy fellow. 8th of the year.
4:01. The time of the goal, Gordie Howe intercepting now. 2-0 for Hartford. And they keep applying the pressure. Nick Beaulieu couldn't come up with it inside the line. It's cleared out by Hickey going in with Turnbull, and Williams. Hickey's shot. That low drive was just wide. Williams back of the net, couldn't center it. Covering up on the play was Gordy Roberts. Now Burrows, the screen shot. They chop at it in front. Turnbull did. He couldn't make contact. It's gloved away from the danger area by Sims. Now Roberts back of the net. Flipped the pass up to Potiu. He couldn't get it. Hickey kept it in. On the other side is Williams. He was covered. And Sheehy just cleared it out across the line to center ice. Gordie Howe missed it near center. Now Barry shooting it in for Toronto. Garrett out of the net to stop it for Sims. Here he comes on this left side. Sims across the line to center down to Howe. Here's Howe going in at a sharp angle. Shoots one. He put it right on and Ridley stopped it on the short side. Back for Toronto to center. It's broken up by Gordie Howe and he played it back in his own zone. Again, Roberts coming out looking for Howe. The lead pass, it doesn't work. Howe was offside, and it's called. Tonight's game is coming to you from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto.
If you believe curbing inflation begins with sound economic management, take a closer look at this election. Well before the election, Prime Minister Clark moved to restore confidence in our economy and dollar. The budget set out an honest and realistic plan for Canada's economic future that reduced the deficit and encouraged individual Canadians. Sound economic management is a change Canada must have. Real change deserves a fair chance. On February 18th, vote Progressive Conservative.
Well, there we saw it again where Craig Carroll came out of the corner. It's amazing that he was able to tuck that one in on the short side.
2-0 Hartford over Toronto. Nearing the 6-minute mark of the second period. Now Sittler missed a pass. It hit his skate. Mark Howe flipped it to center. Mulhern back for Sittler going in. Sittler shot. Score! Well, Sittler, a nice shot. I think Garrett, though, in all fairness, was a bit flat-footed on the shot.
Well, I don't know if Sittler got all of that shot. We're going to see this one again, but it looked like a very harmless play. That's where you want the guy to shoot from outside. Looks like he made, there it is, hits the stick, goes in the top corner.
Number 8, Richard Mulhern.
Now Mulhern gave it to Sittler. There it is from the top of the circle. Garrett was out, taking the angle away, but it hit his stick and went in the net.
5:39 the time, and the Leafs get back. So it's Hartford 2, Toronto 1. There's Salming back to the net. He lost it right in front. Scramble for it. Down goes Ridley, and he holds it out. And the Leafs break out quickly, shooting it out to center ice. Salming giving it away right in front of his own net. There's Garrett out of the net. Back of the goal it goes. The Whalers can't pick it up. Boutet couldn't reach it. There's Boutet after Martin. Martin swinging back in with Paymon. Paymon off the boards with a shot. That's blocked by Mark Howe. Howe tipped it to the line. Here's Salming. Salming intercepting the pass. And what a shot. It's 2-2.
Well, we're seeing all kinds of giveaways tonight. The kind of plays that make coaches this shudder. There was Howe trying to throw it up the middle. That's Mark Howe. Salming just intercepts. There it hits the stick. Trying to pick out the number there. Right in the slot area. Dribble by into the net. It was Mike Rogers hit his stick.
And number 25, Terry Mark.
And it didn't take long for the Leafs to tie this one.
Gloria Salming from Will Paymon and Terry Mark. Time 6:27.
So it's now 2-2. Keon comes to center. Played it in over the line for Allison. Back in front, and Keon missed the trailing pass. Back to the line. Roberts shoots it to the corner. Hartford in on top of the Leafs again now, but Anderson coming out with Boschman and Saganuk to center. This is Saganuk dropping it for Boschman, looking for Anderson. Back to the line for Parrish. Parrish going along the board, centered to the wing by Anderson and Saganuk. And the Whalers, Allison coming down with Keon. Keon in over the line. The play on the left side for Renault didn't work, and it's called. This is Hockey Night in Canada from Maple Leaf Gardens. 2 goals in 48 seconds.
Well, a low shot by Salming, but it did deflect off of Mike Rogers' stick. Changed the angle, went by Garrett. 48 seconds apart, and we are tied.
Okay, Gary, it's Tied at 2, back of the Toronto goal. Leafs trying to move it out. Brewer is on. Oh, that's, I beg your pardon, Mulhern, number 8. Down on the left side, there's Hickey. He couldn't shoot it. Blocked by Keon. Keon doing a marvelous job. Skating miles coming all the way back. Now it's tipped to center. And it's Douglas in with Keon. Here's Douglas getting set. He tried to set it up for Keon, but Salming blocked it. Now Allison couldn't center it. He hit the side of the net, and that's Mulhern, number 8, clearing it to the line. And now the Leafs clear it to center. Coming down is Salming. Up over the line he goes. Salming hooked, knocked down, not flying. He goes right on. The fans thought maybe there might have been a penalty. Offside is called at the Hartford line. There's John Garrett. And there's Mulhern.
Well, Richard Mulhern certainly wasn't playing in Los Angeles, so he's happy to be anywhere where he can play on a regular basis. And if he can do the job, he'll certainly find a home here. Now watch Salming cut through the middle there. And you wonder if he gave it a little 8.5. The crowd sure thought it should have been a penalty.
It's flipped in back of the Leaf goal. That's Farish after it. Number 23 for Toronto. Farish gets it up near the line, and it's knocked down by Johnston. Johnston couldn't move it in across the line, though. Paymont coming back out. He's on with Sittler and Williams. But the Whalers come right back. The Bull up over the line. He put the brakes on and lost control of it. And the Leafs shoot it down the ice. That's Mark Howe with Sims. Sims, number 3, up to Carroll. Going in with Johnston and the ball for Hartford. Sittler broke it up. Mark Howe took it from him and lost it to Paymont. Paymont backhands it into the Hartford zone. Nearing the 9-minute mark of the second period, the score tied at 2, and it's back into the Leaf zone for Salming. His long pass hit a stick. Carroll turns at center. Mark Howe pass it into the ball. He couldn't get a shot on the net. Back of the goal, Johnston tried to dig it out. The ball after it again. Backhands it up along the boards. Paymont going and looking for it. There he is, clearing it back to his own net for Mulhern. Out to the line, and that's center ice. Sittler going in. The pass stopped by Bernie Johnston, and he comes right back for Hartford. In with Carroll and DeBoll. Offside. DeBoll on the left wing. With the score, Toronto 2, Hartford 2. This is Hockey Night in Canada.
This is the budget that caused this election. Joe Clark calls it tough. Well, it is. Tough on the working Canadian like truckers or farmers, so food costs will rise. Tough if you're a working Canadian and would have to spend an additional $600 to heat your home. Tough if you drive. Tough if you're worried about double-digit inflation. And Joe Clark has promised to bring back this tough budget unchanged. Be tough yourself. Vote Liberal.
Kurt Ridley, the goaltender for the Toronto Maple Leafs, apparently on that last shot hurt his right hand. So you see the trainer coming out to have a look at it now. He might have hurt his thumb, Gary. While we have a moment here, what about that Wayne Gretzky last night? Isn't that something?
He only had 7 points, you know.
7 assists.
7 assists.
Wow.
He is making his move to challenge for the scoring leadership.
You're telling me he's right on the heels of Guy Lafleur now, even though Lafleur's apparently going again tonight. He has scored in Montreal. It's 3-1 for Canadians over Pittsburgh. Going to try to pick up the shot that probably caused this delay and this injury to Ridley. Let's have a look.
Well, it's Bernie Johnson, and as soon as he got over the blue line and let the shot go, it looked like it may deflect it off the stick there. Now the whistle had blown for an offside. Bernie Johnson, he couldn't stop his momentum, and perhaps Ridley may have just relaxed for a second, and it looks like he is going out of the game.
You know, we're going to get Yuri Serra. He's the backup goaltender, and here he comes now. Well, he's been a big question mark, Gary, for the National Hockey League this year. We wondered.
Now in goal for Toronto, wearing number 31, Yuri
And a
Serra.
welcome for Yuri Serra as he comes in. I saw him play some years ago in Czechoslovakia. He looked pretty good over there. Now, how he's looking in the National Hockey League is something else. But they tell me he was hot down in the minors.
Well, he had a very impressive record. One thing with the Leafs, you know, they don't play a real defensive style. You know, they play very wide open. So, Sirois, he's going to have to be very careful at the start. Of course, the Whalers will try to get as many shots as they can at him. See what he's made of.
Okay, the faceoff is just outside the line. The score is tied 2-2. And we're nearing now the halfway mark of the hockey game. And it's been a freewheeling game. Wide open. Lots of offensive action. So if it continues that way, we'll see how Yuri Serra stands up. Douglas shoots it in for the Whalers. Serra out of the net. Shoots it up along the boards. Williams trying to clear it. He got it out to Turnbull. Down to Hickey. One man back. Here's Hickey going in. Gets in position and then couldn't get it by Roberts. Back to pick it up was Douglas, and he shoots it out to Allison. Allison coming down with Keon. The long shot as he tested Serra, and he made a good save with a stick. This game is coming to you from Maple Leaf Gardens. On in to replace Kurt Ridley, who injured his hand here in the second period. And he comes in with a score tied, so it's a brand new game, and it's his now. Here's Sims taking a shot away off the net. Maloney fanned on it. Mark Howe kept it in. Gordie Howe goes back in the net. He centered it, but the Leafs were all over in front of the net, and it's cleared back to center by Kazicki. He shoots it in for Butler. The other man on there is Maloney. There's Maloney, but Gordie Howe stopped it near the line. Butler getting in front. Mark Howe goes back of the net, put it up on the boards. Kazicki tried to tip it into the corner again for Toronto and couldn't. Maloney gets it back near the line. Burroughs couldn't keep it in. He's on the defense with Parrish. Here's Mark Howe on the fly. Mark Howe coming in. Mark Howe gets set. Doesn't shoot it now. Takes a look. Gives it to Sims. There's a drive. And that's tipped away by Serra. The Leafs. Long pass by Kazicki down the ice. And it's icing.
Well, Blaine Stoughton only had 18 goals last year. Now all of a sudden he has 35. There must be a reason for that golden touch.
No, I really can't pinpoint it down to one thing. I think, I've just been, really lucky this year. The puck's been coming my way, and of course I've had a lot more ice time this year.
Blaine Stoughton, I'll tell you, is having some kind of year. There he is, number 21 for the Hartford Whalers. 8:54 left in the second period. The score tied at 2. Rogers got the draw, but the Leafs on it quickly. A lead pass. Just got by Martin and down the ice. Garrett out of the net to clear it into the corner. Boutet shoots one to center. It's Boutet with Rogers and Stoughton up front for Hartford. This is Gordie Roberts, the defenseman, shooting it in. Off the board, Solving went in first, and he circles in the corner. Tipped it ahead for Settler. Down with Paymon. A good play. Paymon couldn't get by Roberts, though, and Roberts takes over for Hartford. It's cleared by Giroux. Up to the line is Rogers to center. Rogers made that move, and Boutet was in ahead of him offside.
Well, Pat Boutet went to the Hartford Whalers in a trade for Bob Stevenson, and we asked him what it was like to be in the Whalers organization.
Well, I think it's Hartford's a great place to play. We got guys like Gordie Howe and David Keon to play with, and when I was in Toronto, I never really got a chance to play that much, and when I came to Hartford, they gave me an opportunity to play. I'm playing the power play now and killing penalties, and it's just a great atmosphere to play in right now.
It's a real hustler, too, I'll tell you. Pat Boutet. There's Paymont. He was stopped near the line. Solving waits for him to come back out. Did he wait long enough? Yes, he did. Paymont played it in over the line. Giroux clearing it again for Hartford. And Mulhern brings it in for Toronto. A long, weak shot away wide. Sittler went after it. Sittler backhands it in behind the net for Paymont. Paymont trying to clear it in front. He did. Back to Solving, and it got away from him and goes back down the ice. That's Boutet dogging Solving. They both go down, but I think Boutet is going to get the gate. It'll be a holding penalty against Pat Boutet. He doesn't like it, but he'll go. Live from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, hockey.
That was a pretty good tackle right behind the net. So the Leafs will have that power play.
Carroll couldn't clear it out. Trying to play it back into his own zone, but failed, and the Leafs grab it. They'll start all the way back from their own net area. Mulhern on the right side. It goes to Parrish to center. Parrish coming up near the line. A good play into Mulhern. This time he put some wood on it, I'll tell you. But the shot was wide. In back of the net, Sims dropped it out near the line. The Leafs keep it in. Have pressure on. The backhander by Turnbull is off the net. Hickey is also on there in the corner fighting for it. Hickey with Turnbull helping. Turnbull back to the line. Mulhern into Hickey again. Hickey centered one. It went by Turnbull. But now Parrish rolled one in front and scramble. And Garrett had to cover it up quickly. He had to go down on all fours to grab that one. 6:49 left in the second period. The score tied 2-2 and a minute and 11 seconds left in the penalty to Pat Boutet.
Stay with CBC Television for continuing coverage of the 1980 Winter Olympic Games from Lake Placid, New York.
Face-off deep in the Hartford zone to the right of John Garrett. A minute and 11 seconds left in Pat Boutet's penalty. 6:49 in the period, and it's been a wide-open game. Surprisingly, not more goals have been scored, but certainly there have been many, many chances. From the draw, the Whalers knock it out across the line to center ice. And the Leafs on the power play. Salming being watched by Stoughton. Gets a play off to the left side. Now it's hooked over the boards at the Leaf bench. And they'll have a face-off on the center ice area. 59 seconds left in Boutet's penalty. Here's Mulhern. Richard by name.
You know, the last sequence in that end zone when they had Maloney out there, he just parked himself in front of the net, and he and Roberts really had a good battle. But that's what the Leafs have to do, get involved.
Face off in the center ice area. And the Leafs in control of it from the draw. Salming chasing it. Roberts put it on Paymon's stick. He centered it. Sittler's backhander. That was a close one, just tipped away in time. Garrett watching it go back of the net as Paymon picks it up on the boards. Then he lost it, and the Whalers shoot it down the ice with 38 seconds left in the penalty. Serra out of the net to stop it for Mulhern. Paymon goes back of his own goal again, getting away from Stoughton, dropping it to Mulhern. Up for Paymon. He has to move on it now, going down with Sittler at center. Here's Sittler going in, dropping it back to Williams. Williams in turn back to Salming, and he centered it. And it's cleared by Stoughton. Coming out with Rogers. 15 seconds left in the penalty. Rogers circles at the line, comes back to center and kills some more seconds with just 8 seconds left now. It's over the boards near the Whalers bench, and again it's called, and 6 seconds left in Boutet's penalty.
Well, Mike Rogers has certainly got the knack for scoring goals. In his last 5 years, he has averaged 25 goals a year. Never had less than 25. So when he gets in that scoring area, he certainly knows what to do with that puck. What a year he's had for the Whalers.
Mike Rogers, number 17, and now the face-off with Boschman, Saganuk, and Anderson on for the Leafs. Here's Anderson. His shot is stopped by Garrett, a bullet drive. And Boutet is back on. Here's Boutet. He was just barely offside as he came quickly from the penalty box. Tonight's game is coming to you from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. Hammond. Toronto 2, Hartford 2. 5:30 left in the second period. And Parrish. An easy pass through the middle goes back into the Whalers zone. Giroux back of the net for Hartford. He spun around. Couldn't come up with it. Sims got in front of the net, and he gets away from Boschman. Comes to the line. Sims to center ice with Keon going in. Here's Keon breaking for the net, and it's knocked away by Serra in time. Parrish going back of the net for Toronto. Keon watching him. Parrish coming out of the zone to center ice. There's the long shot high on the glass. Douglas going back against Saganuk. Douglas is grabbed by Saganuk. Into the corner they go. Fighting for it. 4 players along the boards. And now they hold it. No whistle yet. They finally kick it free. And it comes to Burrows. He was stopped at the line by Allison. Now they get a whistle near the blue line. Let's go down to Dave Hodge.
Coming up in the second intermission, I will talk to Mark Howe, son of Gordy, and Bob Goldham will have highlights of this second period.
Okay, David. Face off just inside the Hartford line. Score tied at 2. 4:35 left in the period. And now Al Sims rushing to center. A long pass too far for Allison. It goes into the corner. Allison gets it back to Sims. It's tipped down the ice by Saganuk. And Giroux comes back for Hartford. Hartford defenseman back of the net. Long pass to center. Parrish again waiting for Saganuk to come back out. Lifted a high one. It's dropped back of the net by Garrett. Now Douglas coming to center. Douglas up over the line for Hartford. Douglas getting through. He couldn't reach it in front of the netminder. Sirrah comes back in front of Gordie Howe. A close one with Salming going down. You know, he's got 799 goals.
That had 800 written all over, didn't it?
You can't help it. He has the fans coming to their feet every time he gets in front. He's had 2 or 3 pretty good chances in this game.
Did you see Sirrah? He came out there and tapped Gordie on the shin pad. And let's say, good try, big boy, but not this time. You're not going to get it against me.
Well, there he is, number 9, Gordie Howe.
You know, and he's, like you say, 51 years old. They had an optional practice this morning. The team got in at 3 o'clock, and who was out there? Gordie Howe.
One of the first on the ice, as a matter of fact. Put in a workout. He got a pass back to the line now. There's a long shot. Hit Howe standing on the rim of the circle. Hartford Whalers keep it in. High shot off the glass. Odieu keeping it in. A drive from the blue line. Hit Howe again to the right of Sirrah. Again, Renault couldn't stop it this time. And Turnbull's long pass down the ice. Too far for Williams. And Garrett out taking no chances. He loved it.
Now we have some out-of-town scores. Now the Canadians have really caught fire. LaRouche and Riseborough have scored. It's how 5-1. Hangs-Laban has scored for Washington. Fraser has for Vancouver. 2-1 there in the second period. And Gare and Savard for Buffalo. Woods has replied for Detroit. That game now 4-2 in the third period.
And here it's 2-2 with 3:36 left in the second period. The Leafs, Mulhern at the blue line, took a shot, hit Turnbull. And it's cleared by Sheehy to the line, but not out. The Leafs, Hickey trying to reach in for it. Knocked away by Renault. Now Hickey from the corner centered it. Here's Mulhern coming in. He fell and couldn't get a shot away. Sheehy got it up to center ice. In they come on the left side. Odieu right in front of Sheehy. And his shot along the ice was just wide on the stick side of Sirrah. The Leafs come right back out to center. Salming's picking his way up over the line. Hit one high on the boards and it goes behind the Whalers' net. Odieu coming back out with Gordie Howe on his right. The pass into Howe too far. Howe coming in looking for it. He has it along the boards. He's jammed by Tiger Williams. And they get a whistle now. Nick Odieu going in against Turnbull. And Williams grabs Gordie Howe around the neck.
That's dangerous.
I wouldn't. Not from that angle anyway, Tiger.
No, you just say, Mr. Howe, excuse me. You don't grab him from behind.
What was that? An elbow? Well, they break it up quickly. There's Tiger.
You know, it's amazing with Tiger Williams. He's piled up a lot of penalty minutes throughout his career, but when you talk to him off the ice, he's very concerned with his family, very good at all the things that go on making a successful marriage. Good man.
Yes, and I'll tell you, a very likable, peaceable person, as you say, Gary off the ice. Paymont shooting it in for Toronto. Martin went after it. It's over the glass. You know, he does a lot of visiting around the various hospitals in Toronto. Also, he's a great guy, Tiger Williams.
Well, Johnson, the Whalers picked him up from the Philadelphia Flyers. He played in Maine and had a successful start in Springfield, and he earned the right to come out here and see what he could do. And Don Blackburn said this guy has turned out to be a solid performer. Doesn't get very many goals scored against him. That's the type of player we need.
DeBull getting the draw for Hartford, but the Leafs. Burrows keeping it in. Al Sims back of the net. Pass on this side for Carroll. He can't move it out. Roberts went after it. Managed to shoot it on an open side all the way down the ice. It'll be icing with Farish going back. There it is, and it's called back into the Hartford zone, and only 2:14 left now in the second period. Score tied at 2.
Well, Al Sims from the Boston organization, and you know, he was a little upset when the Bruins let him go. And I think his attitude was, well, I'll show them. And one thing he does, he gives the Hartford Whalers, especially back in defense, a lot of experience. Doesn't give that puck away that often.
Sittler, Paymon, and Martin up front for Toronto. Parrish and Burrows, the two defensemen. Paymon couldn't shoot it. He didn't quite hit it properly, and then he fell. Roberts back of his own net for Sims. Now the Whalers line up, and the pass comes to Carroll. Coming out at center ice, Johnstone going in. He shoots it in on the corner boards. Zera back of the net, and Paymon comes back to help. Paymon up on the wing. Sittler didn't see the pass. At center, Roberts fed it ahead. Johnston was upended, but now Carroll carries on. Carroll leaves it. There's Johnston, back of the net it goes. DeBull missed the pass. Martin coming out of his own zone with Sittler. Sittler got away from the check near center and then shoots it in with 1.5 minutes left in the period. There's Roberts again for Carroll. Carroll of the Whalers to center. Johnston gets it in across the line. Gets dangerously close with Carroll. Right in, and the pass just went by everybody. Sims standing right on the edge of the crease. Now they pile in along the boards and get a whistle in the Leaf zone with 1 minute and 11 seconds left to play in this second period.
Well, that man has gone through a lot this year. Watch Daryl Sittler going in the corner. Looks like he goes in an awkward position. May have jammed his ankle going in. There he comes. That's what you call taking the man out.
1 minute and 5 seconds left in the second period. Mulhern, number 8 for Toronto. Pokes one up to center. Now 1 minute left. Hartford couldn't keep it in. And the Leafs with a score tied at 2. Broken up at center. Back for Rogers. And his shot stopped by Zera. Look behind him. What he made the save. It's a big hand. Here's Mark Howe from center. 40 seconds left. Played it in on the boards. Anderson overskates it in the zone. Boutet tried to center it. Now Stoughton goes in to help. Now it comes right in front of Rogers. And the defenseman, Salming, went down and broke it up. Now, again, Stoughton's pass goes in front. It's knocked down to the Leafs, cleared by Markow to center. Saginaw going in with Anderson. It's knocked down by Giroux just inside the line. Anderson couldn't keep it in. Rogers back out for Hartford with 12 seconds left. Goes in across the line, and the Leafs come back again. Boston, Anderson, and Saginaw. They shoot it in with 5 seconds left in the period. Giroux played it up to center ice, and there's the bell to end the second period. And it's a brand new hockey game with the Whalers jumping out to a 2-0 lead, and the Leafs coming back and in 2 goals in 48 seconds and tie it up. And so the score at the end of the second period is Hartford 2 and Toronto 2. John Garrett, you saw a second ago in the nets for Hartford Whalers. Mark Howe on the defense for Hartford. A pass to Sims. And the Leafs offside. Sittler, Paymon, and Martin, the starting 3 up front for Toronto. There's Daryl Sittler with Salming on the defense, and Richard Mulhern is number 8. Mulhern, number 8. And he has it now in the center ice area. Mulhern put it in behind Paymon. Sims in his own zone with Howe. Mark Howe to center. Sims again will have to rescue it, play it up on the boards, and down the ice it goes. No icing on this one. It was tipped by a Leaf player near center. Now Mulhern coming out slowly on the left wing. It goes down the ice. Sims is coming back. The score tied at 2. We're into 30 seconds of the third period with the puck bouncing high over the glass into the crowd to the right of John Garrett.
Well, Terry Martin has had an opportunity of playing. He hasn't seen much ice time this year, of course, with all the changes that the Leafs are making, trying to get the right combination. He certainly adds the dimension of speed to their attack.
Rogers, Stoughton, and Boutet up front for Hartford. The face-off deep in the Whalers zone to the right of the net. Sidler gets set against Mike Rogers. Gets the draw, but Stoughton taps it to center ice and rolls down by Parrish. Inside the line, Parrish against Boutet. Hamon got his pass up to Sidler at center. Down to Martin. Knocked away at center by Stoughton. Martin coming in after Mark Howe. Stoughton back to help. Tries to hold it. Martin lost his stick. Burroughs gets it across in front of the net. Now Boutet comes back to cover up, but there's Martin back of the goal. It's knocked down in front of the net, and Stoughton brings it out. On the wing for Rogers. Rogers across the line, broken up by the Leaf defenseman Parrish, and he starts Sidler away, but Sidler lost control of it, and Garrett just scooped it away with a stick. Stoughton having some difficulty getting it out, but now Rogers brings it away. Rogers gets across center. Rogers going in. He tried to get around Parrish. He couldn't. Sierra out of the net. He's flipping ahead on the wing, and Williams couldn't catch up to it. Now there's Parrish again, hopping across center, shooting it in by Roberts. Back of the net, Giroux. He stops it. Giroux played it up along the boards for Blaine Stoughton to center, but there again is Parrish. As the Leaf change while the play goes on, it's cleared inside the Hartford line. They hold it along the boards. And do we get a whistle? Yes, we do. It's called for a face-off in the Hartford zone. From Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto, hockey.
Him well and a speedy recovery.
They've hit the 2-minute mark of this third period. The score tied at 2. That's Kazicki at center ice for Toronto, wearing number 14. He got the draw, but it quickly comes to center. Williams and Hickey are the two wingers up front for Toronto. The pass intended for Williams was stopped by DeBoll. He's on with Johnston and Carroll. The Leafs have to come back, and now Williams off the glass, can't move it out of his own zone. Serra back in the net, leaving it for Salming. Again, Williams not clearing it. Giroux took the shot. That's stopped by Kazicki, and now Williams gets it down to Hickey. Here's Hickey coming in over the line with Kazicki. Kazicki couldn't make the other pass, and the Whalers, Johnston turns right around and brings it to center. Johnston up over the Leaf line, couldn't go by Salming. And Williams, a pass up on the other side. Hickey knocked it down. Hickey comes up over the line, had it chopped away. The Leafs pick it up again. Can't move it in. DeBoll comes back down the ice, has a chance for his shot. Serra looked pretty good as he went down to stop that one. It's cleared back of the net. They keep it in. DeBoll moved it over to the other side. And it's Kazicki ahead for Hickey. Hickey and Williams to center. The pass in by Williams. And again, the Whalers just move it up to the line and over it. Carroll gets a pass away up for Johnston. He took a shot. That was blocked. And Parrish, who stopped the shot, brings it out. Backhand pass comes off the boards too far for Boschman. The Leafs are changing now. The play continues. 3.5 minutes gone in the third period. It's tied at 2. Hartford and Toronto in a deadlock. As Burroughs circles at his own blue line. Plays it up over center to Boschman, and it's called offside. Tonight's game is coming to you from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto.
Look, there's a lucky shamrock, like the one you see in my Manly Irish Spring soap. It has the fine, fresh fragrance of a spring day in Ireland. And the unique double deodorant system in these green and white stripes. 2 deodorants to help keep a man feeling clean and fresh.
Manly, yes. But I like him too.
You can't beat the luck of the Irish. Irish Spring helps keep you feeling clean and fresh a long, long time.
Dave Keon for Hartford with Douglas and Allison on the wings. Mark Howe and Sims, the two defensemen. Keon with a draw. Played it in the general direction of the net, but the Leafs quickly pick it up. And back they come. Parrish lugging it to center. Parrish trying to play it in on the wing for Boschman. He's on again with Saganuk and Anderson. They can't get it going, though, tonight. They're at the 4-minute mark now of the third period. Toronto 2, Hartford 2. Mark Howe starting out. Now across center ice. Goes up over the line. He was draped along the boards, and Sankanak comes back. He's passed up by Howe. His low shot in wide of the net. Now Allison moving in. He overskates into the Leafs. Come right out to center. Boschman coming in with Anderson on the left side. The hot shot grabbed by John Garrett, and he hangs onto it. You know, there's a great old-timers event coming up soon here in Toronto. The rematch of last year's highly entertaining game in Montreal between the Canadians and the Leafs old-timers, with proceeds for the Special Olympics, the Charlie Conacher Cancer Fund, Princess Margaret Hospital, and McDonald House.
It'll be played here at the Maple Leaf Garden Sunday afternoon, March 23rd, and tickets will be on sale starting Monday at the Garden box office.
Eddie Shack, the Pocket Rocket, Gump Worsley, Red Story, Andy Bathgate, Dick Duff, Bobby Rousseau, J.C. Tremblay, dozens more great players from not too many years ago will be on hand to make it a great day.
Why don't you come by? Sounds like a lot of fun.
They score right from the faceoff. It comes back to the line, and the Leafs take the lead for the first time in a game. 3-2. What a drive from the blue line. Let's get a look at that one again right after the draw, Gary.
Now you talk about the importance of faceoffs and how you have to bear down. Sittler's one of the best. And Salming, he just lets it go. There's the screen. Gordy Roberts was right in front of Garrett, never had a chance on him, and went right through him.
Salming from
now the Leafs come to life with that goal. Paymont going in. Paymont in for checking deep. Couldn't come up with it, though. Giroux bringing it back out. Gets it to the line. Rogers pass on the other side for Boutet. He was bumped trying to go by. That stalled the play. Enough for the Leafs to clear it to the line, but not out. Hartford keeping it in. Giroux getting in front. Doesn't get the pass from Stoughton, though. Stoughton couldn't stop this time. Giroux does. Took a shot. It hit a skate. And the Leafs Sittler cleared it to center ice. Paymont couldn't hang on to it. Toronto 3, Hartford 2. 14:40 left in the game. Paymont has to wait for Sittler to come back out. The Hartford Whalers shoot it down the ice. Now Burrows starting across the line. Tried to lead that headman. But Paymont, who was right up behind everybody, didn't even see it. It was stopped in front of him. Leafs shoot it down the ice. So the icing. That's Mark Howe touching it, and it's called icing. This is Hockey Night in Canada from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto.
Here's a good view of the way that last goal happened. A Sittler draw and a quick release by Borje Salming. Garrett got a piece of it, but it went by him for a 3-2 Toronto lead.
Now Gordie Howe is on again. He got the draw for Hartford. Gordie Howe tries to center it. He's stopped by Kazicki and the Leafs. Burrows goes back at the net. Beaulieu and Sheehy on the wings with Gordie Howe at center ice, and the Whalers keep it in. Beaulieu tried to get it in front for Sims. He couldn't. Kazicki intercepted and cleared it up on the right wing boards down the ice, where Mark Howe picks it up in his own zone, up for his father Gordie at center. In goes Beaulieu trying to set up Mark Howe. Now Gordie handles the puck in the center ice area, waiting for Mark to come back on side. The pass. Here's Sheehy going in. Trying to set up. Gordie had to get shot. Outstanding shot and stopped by Sirrah. The fans come to their feet again. Bullet drive by Gordie Howe. Back to the net. Parrish, the lead pass to center. Turnbull trying to catch up. Out of the net is Garrett. Played it up high on the glass. And Nick Beaulieu nearly got away. Nearly had a break. It's called now on the offside. And did Gordie ever walk into that one from the left side? It's dangerous anywhere inside that blue line.
Well, one thing Gordie does, he still possesses a pretty good shot. You're going to see it again. Or he'll get in that slot area. Going behind the net. Now it'll come centered out in front. Well, we're still waiting. And we're not going to see it.
Okay, well, we saw it earlier anyway, Gary. There's that drive by Roberts as he fell. And that shot was just off the post, not by much. The Leafs clear it to center, nearing the 7-minute mark of the third period. Toronto 3, Hartford 2. The Leafs behind all the way in the game have finally gone in front on the goal by Salming. His second of the night. Now the Hartford Whalers steal it. Sirrah makes a miraculous save. coming around the net to rob Bernie Johnston, who will wheel around the net pretty quickly. And Zera is looking good.
Well, he was fortunate on that one. He gave the puck away behind the net, and then he was able to recover.
He moves rather quickly. A good skater. Lost his stick, I believe, as he was diving, but he came up with a save. Toronto 3, Hartford 2. Salming, a long lead pass. Went by Anderson down the ice. Giroux back. He touched it. And it's called back inside the Toronto line.
Well, next Saturday, Sports Weekend begins its coverage of all the major curling events with the Canadian Junior Curling Championship from Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario.
minutes, 43 seconds left of the game. And it's been a fine hockey game. A lot of more action yet. Toronto up by a goal now on the Hartford Whalers. Haven't been able to do much with Hartford this season. They've lost 2 to them. Here's Giroux with a screen shot. That went wide. And the Leafs, Saginaw coming out with Anderson and Boschman up across the line. Saginaw getting in front. And the shot juggled by Garrett. I'll tell you, that's a great little line. Saginaw, Anderson, and Boschman. With a score, Toronto 3. It's tipped out to the line, knocked down by Mark Howe. And Paymont took a weak shot. There's Paymont again. Stolen by Keon. He just flipped it on the boards and not out. Martin kept it in. There's a chance for Sittler. He wheeled and fired it wide. And the Whalers shoot it to center ice. Parrish is covering up at his own line. He's on the defense with Burroughs. Sittler up front. Paymont and Martin on the wings now. Good move by Parrish. Another one by Parrish. Parrish going down with Sittler. Sittler dropping it to Parrish. The shot knocked down by Garrett. Right in front again. Martin nearly scored. Martin back of the net, centered it. Paymont and Sittler. Back to the line. Parrish shooting it again. And it's knocked down in front of the net by Sims. Here's Allison coming out with Keon. Up over the line for Hartford in front. Hit the goal post. Allison ripped one off the post on that far side, and now Martin speeding back against Mark Howe. Martin can't get around Howe. Now he centers it. And the Hartford Whalers play it off the boards to center ice. Turnbull is out again. Now Turnbull getting the pass. At the line, he was stopped. Turnbull, who's onside, picked it up and played it high on the glass. And Mark Howe back of his own net up for Sims. Stopped by Salming. Salming into the corner. It goes to Hickey. Hickey trying to set it up in front. Williams at the side of the net. There's Turnbull again centering it. And 2 Whalers break out. This is Boutet coming down with Allison. Allison over the line with Boutet. Here's Boutet into the corner. Mulhern after him all the way. He gets a pass back to Roberts. Roberts away from one check. In front to Allison. Didn't work. Now Boutet after it. In the corner. Back of the net. It's cleared by Rogers. Along the boards, but the Leafs move it out. Turnbull down to Hickey. Hickey on a break. Going in. And the shot stopped. The rebound. Oh, and it's saved by Garrett. Another scramble to the side of the net. I'll tell you, we're having great action here tonight. Hartford and Toronto Maple Leafs. Look at Stoughton go now. He's up over the line. Stoughton dropping it ahead. This is Rogers in the corner. He hit the side of the net as he tried to move it over in front for Boutet. At the halfway mark of the third period, Toronto 3, Hartford 2. The Leafs shoot it down the ice to relieve the pressure. And icing is called against Toronto. This game is coming to you from Maple Leaf Gardens.
Crease there and made the save.
And right after that, he had another dazzling save to make. Now Boutet, weak shot, stopped by Parrish. Parrish back of the net. Boutet going in, trying to take it away from him, but Parrish handling the puck well back there tonight. It's tipped by a stick of the glass, and it goes into the crowd.
Well, former teammate of mine, Don Blackburn, now the head coach, and he was saying the toughest part is to get all 17 guys playing with a lot of intensity. You know, when 1 or 2 or 3 forwards or defensemen are not playing to their capabilities, it makes it awfully difficult.
Rogers, Boutet, and Stoughton up front for Hartford. Boschman, Anderson, and Saginaw for the Leafs. Toronto 3, Hartford 2. That's Sims coming up near the line with Roberts. Roberts tipped it up along the boards. Rogers went after it. Rogers kicks it loose. And back at the net again is Dave Farish. He lost a chance, though, this time. And now it's Anderson stealing it in the zone and coming out with it. His center. He has Boston on his right. Saganuk on the wing. Anderson tipped it in front. Here's Anderson. And his backhand shot is stopped by Garrett again. Back for Rogers. For Hartford. He's going in. Puts the brakes on. Takes a look. Nobody with him. Stout was in front of the net, but he was too well covered. Anderson again, coming from deep in his own zone. Gets away from Carroll to center. Knocked down. And the puck comes loose to Mark Howe. Coming in is Stout. Stout turning around near the line, and the Leafs will break out now. This is Martin and Sittler. Sittler going in. Right in on goal. And Garrett out of the net. The rebound to Fremont. Goal! Garrett decided he had to leave the net. And then he fell and couldn't get back in, and Fremont opens up a 2-goal lead for Toronto.
Well, that's one of those situations for a goaltender. You either go or you stay. Garrett elected to stay. Now look at how far he's out of position. And one thing about Fremont, he just takes his time. He knows the net is empty, and he just pops it in the corner.
Says number 27, Darryl Sittler, and number 25, Terry Martin. Time 11:14.
11:14, the time of the goal. It's 4-2 now, Toronto. They were behind at one point in the game, 2-0. But they've battled back for 4 in a row. And now going in is Johnston on the wing to Bowl. Centered it! And down in front of the netminder is Salming to come up with a big save on Carroll. Live from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. Hockey night in Canada. We'll let that one go with the net empty. Garrett leaving the net to make a save. There's a drive from the blue line by Sims up high. Sims coming in after it again. Knocking it to the corner. Williams coming back for Toronto. And here's Dave Williams coming out with Kazicki and Hickey. Hickey gets the pass. Hickey inside the line for Williams in front of the net, and he was covered all the way by DeBoll. Salming keeping it in. He's got 2 goals tonight. Salming has Turnbull battling for it in the corner, and they hold it along the boards. Now it comes loose, and DeBoll will clear it for Hartford to Mark Howe. DeBoll catching up. Mark Howe goes the other way for Carroll. Carroll in the corner, given a jolt by Salming, and the Leafs' Dave Williams inside his own line. Looks for the opening, and Hickey gets his pass out with Turnbull. From center, he shoots it in. 7:30 left in the game. Toronto 4, Hartford 2. Back on the wing for DeBoll. He's going in, driving for the net. Here's a chance for Johnston. He couldn't get a shot away as he turned around in front of the net. And Hickey in his own zone for Toronto. Lost it against Roberts. Parrish comes up with it. He got away from a check thrown by Douglas. And the Leafs, Williams just dances one high and down the ice. 7 minutes left in the game. 4-2, Toronto. Long shot by Giroux. Sarah watching Gordie Howe go back to the net. He set. He scored! A great play by Howe to Jordy Douglas. And again, the Whalers come right back. And it's 4-3. So stay with us. Howe set that one up beautifully.
Who said that Gordie can't skate? Look at that. He just takes the puck, the strength that he has, lays it right out in front, and it's in the net. But goodness sakes, Gordie.
One hand.
One hand. Somehow he finds Jordy Douglas right in front of the net, and he doesn't waste any time. As soon as it hits his stick, it's in the net.
Time 13:09. Jordy Douglas from Gordie Howe and Larry Giroux. Time 13:09.
13:09, the official time, and it's 4-3, Toronto. But the Whalers are back into it. Here's Howe slapping it back. A shot by Carroll. That's knocked down, or Giroux, rather, from the blue line. Now Anderson trying to tip it out and cannot. Anderson again with Boschman and Saganuk. They go to center. And Anderson shoots a high one in. Garrett out of the net, tips it into the corner. Gordie Howe near the blue line. A pass to the far side. And Roberts comes to center for Hartford. He's up over the lead line and lost control of it. Anderson looking for the lead pass from Saganuk, which does not come. And Saganuk lost it just inside the line. And the Leafs are offside. With a score, Toronto 4. 5:50 left in the game. And it's been a dandy up to this point, that's for sure. They're really skating tonight, Gary, and hitting.
Well, here's one of the better hits. Look, actually, it was more of a collision than a hit. Zero, try to get out of the way.
The Leafs shoot it to center ice. 5:45 left. Toronto up by a goal. It's 4-3. Hartford at one point had a 2-goal lead, scoring first. Leafs come back to tie, and then they took over. And here's Sittler going in with Paymon and Martin. And he let one blast just wide with Garrett a good 10 feet out of the net. Paymon, Sittler, and Martin up front for Toronto. They came close. They whistled that one around pretty good. Paymon first, then Sittler, and finally Martin trailing the play. And he seemed to have all the time in the world, but missed the net.
You know, Martin, when he was in the slot like that, he elected to take a slap shot. But that's the time when you have the amount of time that he had, just take a little wrist shot, try to slide it by one of the corners. A lot more successful that way than letting that slap shot go.
It's where you put it, not how hard. Isn't that what you always told me?
Keep telling you, Gary. Keep telling you. Here's Smitty. Doesn't look all that happy, but he should be. Getting ready for a 6-game road trip and up by a goal with 5:20 left. But, of course, the way this game has been going, anything can happen yet. Parrish on the defense with Burrows, and he gets it down inside the Hartford line. And Hartford Whalers trying to clear it. You see many pucks on the ice. That's wrong. Only one puck, but a couple of rubber balls, I think. They hold it along the boards. Puck comes loose. And the Hartford Whalers trying to bring it out now. Mark Howe gets it up near his own line for Sims to center. Sims shoots it up to the Leaf blue line, and they clear it back down. Here's Kazicki. Kazicki breaking in, and he's stopped by Giroux. They go into the boards, and Stout put it right on Jerry Butler's stick. He took a quick shot. It's hit there in front of the net, and Garrett got a piece of it, and it went wide. The Whalers play it up to center. 4.5 minutes left in the game. Leafs shoot it back into the Hartford zone. Dan Maloney on with Kazicki and Butler looking for it. Near the line, Farry stopped it. And now it's grabbed by Rogers. He can't move it out. Burrows took a shot. That's in wide of the Hartford net. Gordy Roberts from the corner. Great speed for Roberts up to center. Here's Roberts on the move. He's driving for the net. Forced in back of the net by Farrish. And the Leafs will clear it out to the line and over it. As Williams comes to center with Hickey. Hickey breaking in. He's turned up. Spun around. The goaltender Garrett out of the net. Hickey upended. The play goes right on. Back to center ice. It's Johnston bringing it in. The Leafs broke it up, and once again, Hickey starts it away with Williams. He took a shot, deflected, and it goes in back of the Hartford net with 3:40 left to play in the game. Here's Hickey again. Hickey for Turnbull. Turnbull has to race after it. Now Hickey centers it a second time, and the Hartford Whalers put a shot on their own net. That was Carroll from the left wing trying to feed it back of the net. Put a shot on the goal. Johnston shoots it in. He's on with Carroll and the ball. Williams along the board, stopped by Sims. Sims in the corner with Johnston. In front it comes. Turnbull covering up. And it's knocked out across the line to center. That was a high stick that made contact. And they bring it back inside the Toronto line for the face-off with 3:10 left to play in the game, and Toronto leading 4-3.
Well, it's amazing that the Hartford Whalers have been able to keep up this pace that they've applied since the opening face-off, because, you know, when you get it in at 3 o'clock in the morning and then have to play the next night, it makes it awfully difficult.
Well, we've got something new. Now we've got Gordy Howe on a right wing with Keon. A lot of experience there. That's an understatement. So I think they're trying to give Gordy a chance. He's been looking fairly hot around the net, had some chances, set the last goal up beautifully. And they hope they can tie it. Here's Keon. A shot knocked down. Howe gets in. Oh! He missed that. right far post by an inch or two. Howe appeared to have one right there. There's Howe back to the net, clearing it up along the boards. Howe lets it go back to the net again. Douglas tries to center it in front. It comes to Howe. Oh, down goes Sirrah. He just can't buy it. And he knows it. Look, looking for number 800 and looking for a tie in this game. Gordie Howe right there on that shift. And he must have had 3 chances. One was a dilly and just missed the far post. And here from the scramble.
Oh, there it is. Now, he didn't get much on that one. You saw that. We could see the nameplate on the puck, but it just dribbled to the net. And there's the picture tells it right there. He's a little discouraged. What a great opportunity. All he had to do was snap it, and he wasn't able to get good wood on it. But boy, he's had 3 or 4 good chances this evening. Just can't catch.
Trying to lift that one up and couldn't get the stick under it. 2:47 left in the game. Keon with a draw again. Into the corner, Douglas went after it. 3 of them go in. And from the pileup, they get another whistle for a face-off to the left of Sirrah. 2:42 left in the hockey game as you look at Davy Keon. Toronto 4, Hartford 3. I'm Bob Cole along with Gary Dornhofer, Dave Hodge. Here's Howe with another shot knocked down by Sirrah. The rebound, it comes to Sims. Sims for Keon to Howe. No, it's up high and against the glass and into the crowd. And I don't know if this man has got to sleep tonight. I've never seen so many chances inside of 30, 40 seconds.
Well, they better put a shadow on Howe because he's getting himself in the clear. Here comes another one. That one deflected off the stick. Salming slid across to deflect it into the stands. But Gordie has certainly been getting himself into scoring position, and he's getting the puck. So he's getting his chances.
2:32 left in the game. Toronto 4, Hartford 3. Back it comes. Sims with a shot. And Sirrah down, stopping the weak deflection. And the Leafs trying to shoot it down the ice. It went a little high over the glass into the crowd.
Well, Alex Eblay from Tillsonburg, Ontario, a juvenile hockey player, 17 years of age, lost an eye by a slap shot in a hockey game February the 14th. He is now in Victoria Hospital, London, Ontario. And if you have a spare minute, why not send him a card? He'll be in there for another 14 days.
He's in room 345, I think it is.
That's correct, Bob.
Make Alec feel a little better. Stay with us, Alec. We're watching a great game tonight. Toronto 4, Hartford 3. Face off deep in the Leaf zone to the right of Sirrah. He relieved Kurt Ridley. Ridley, in the second period, injured his index finger on the glove hand, the catching hand. Toronto Maple Leafs trying to clear it out. Stopped up the line by Mark Howe. Gordie Howe played along the line, and Maloney clears it. Maloney tied up by Howe in center ice area. They go to the boards, Maloney and Howe, and they hold it on the boards near the Hartford bench. And it's called with 2 minutes and 8 seconds left in the game. Gordie Howe. And right now, we'll check in with Brian McFarland.
And while Gordie Howe comes agonizingly close to goal number 800 tonight here at Maple Leaf Gardens, I remind you to stay tuned for the NHL tonight following the hockey game with all the scores and results.
Okay, Brian, 2:08 left. Toronto 4, Hartford 3. And the Leafs now. In an effort to get some insurance, they're leading 4-3. They have Sittler with Martin and Paymon. And there's Sittler in digging forward against Gordie Roberts. Roberts gets away from him. Martin in watching him now. The Leafs send 2 players deep. Sittler and Martin. And Roberts is having difficulty. But they played to the line. Paymon stopped and took a shot. A quick drive by Paymon, and Garrett had to move fast. Now Rogers shoots it into the Leaf zone. Boutet was tied up. Couldn't make a move on it. Roberts couldn't keep it in. The pass stopped in the center ice area by Stout. Now Salming with 1.5 minutes left in the game with Burroughs. Up with Martin, who fell. It slides down inside the Hartford line, and Giroux back of the net for the Whalers. Here he comes, 1:20 left in the game. The Leafs 4, Hartford 3. Roberts shoots one right in on the net from center ice, and it's stopped easily by Sirrah. The Leafs try to hit Williams, but it went by him and down the ice. It'll be icing with 1:06 left to play. And now we'll take a look at John Garrett. Gary, he's starting out, and Gordie Howe is coming over the boards. I have never seen the fans of Maple Leaf Gardens so quick to recognize exactly what is happening. Howe made a move on the bench, and they gave that applause again. Here he is.
This is one of Gordie's better efforts tonight. He's been skating. He's had the chances to score, and the puck seems to be following around, so why not leave him out there? Of course, Garrett has come to the bench. Now you plan a little strategy here, and I remember Freddie Shero always used to have a good move that he'd employ in the last minute of play. Throw 2 centermen out there. The first guy goes against for instance, Keon there, and if they get thrown out, fine. That's when you can bring your second center iceman in. That was a good play, and it seemed to help many times throughout his stay in Philadelphia.
Okay, the Whalers, trailing by a goal, have now removed John Garrett. He's on the bench. They have the extra attacker on. You see Boutet and Gordie Howe. You have Keon with Mark Howe, and now the Leafs have called a 30-second timeout. That's probably a wise move. Serra, he's played well, Gary. He moves very well and very, very quickly in the nets.
Well, this is his big chance to see what he can do, and he's made several saves, especially on Gordie. And I'm sure the Leafs are talking about what they're going to do once they get the draw. Basically, you don't want to cough up that puck, and you don't want to try and go for a goal from your own zone. Give it the old alley-oop. That's always a good play coming out of your own zone.
Well, Serra moves into position. The face-off will be to his right. There it is. And the Leafs get the draw. Solving with a high one. Chops it down the ice. Mark Howe is back. A minute left in the hockey game. The Whalers net empty. They're looking for a tie now. They shoot it into the Toronto zone. That's Douglas going after it. Jerry Butler after him. Keon is in there too. It comes back in front of the net. Scrambled for it. Here's Boutet with a shot. And he missed the far side. Another drive by Douglas from a difficult angle. Keon back of the net. Centered it. Gordie Howe standing right in front of the goal. And scramble again. The Leafs can't move it outside the line. 30 seconds left. The Whalers all over Toronto. Now the Leafs pick it up and clear it. And Sidler pass is stopped by Sid. Into Gordie Howe. Shot. Knocked away by Serra. Now Solving stopped by Howe. He keeps it in. Into the corner. Keon waiting. 14 seconds left for Douglas. Here's Howe. Oh, scramble. And it's knocked away by Serra. 5 seconds left. The empty net. They score. Tiger Williams, Jerry Butler, that's the second time this year the Leafs have scored into an empty net from their own side of center ice, and that's a dangerous move. But with time running out, Jerry Butler decided he would do it. But have you ever seen a hockey game with such a finish as this one? Well, it's 5-3 for Toronto now, and they've wrapped it up. And this man has done everything but score in the last 2 minutes.
Well, Gordie had another chance. It was right in the crease area. He was left all alone and just couldn't put it by Serra. You know, he's had about 5 or 6 shots, and you know, after the Leafs scored, about 5 or 6 of the players that were on the ice, they came and they banged their sticks against Serra's pad because he has come up with a performance in this third period, especially in the last few minutes here, to keep the Leafs ahead of the Whalers. What an effort.
It's been a heck of a hockey game tonight, no question about it. And what a finish. There's the face-off and the bell, and the game is over. John Garrett leaves immediately. He played a good game tonight. Yuri Serra came in for the injured Kurt Ridley in the second period, and he was just simply outstanding. He stopped everybody, especially in the last 5 or 6 minutes of the hockey